Says, and this could be good news for the economy, he says he can't see gasoline prices going much higher, and he would be surprised if they hit, excuse me, the 135 a litre mark, about 130 right now in Ontario, even after the Venezuelan leader Hugo Chavez's death. And joining us in the studio, Roger McKnight, Senior Petroleum Analyst at Enpro International. Great to see you, Roger.
Good morning.
So, just tell us about the gasoline picture across Canada. I mean, this is good news for drivers. You don't see a big move up in coming months.
The reason I'm saying that is I looked at the refinery margins a year ago versus today. Cost of crude was $106 this time last year. Today it's about $91. When I look at the refining margins across the country, they're 50% higher than they were a year ago. This tells me that the oil companies have weaned the people into their higher pump prices rather than going from $1.25 to $1.32 overnight. They gradually weaned it in, and I see no reason right now for any further price increases. If it goes up a nickel across the country, I would be very surprised, and it won't stick, because I think the oil companies are quite happy with the margins they're making right now.
So the oil companies are making all kinds of money.
All kinds of money.
We should remember that.
We should remember that.
Because I mean, we've had guests coming on saying buy the U.S. refiners, Valero.
Yeah, you're talking about the Midwestern refiners, because now we're getting into that Alberta situation where their input costs are so much lower.
It's even more extreme.
Yeah, it's even more extreme. So they're laughing all the way to the bank. East of the Ohio Valley, not so great because they're using a higher price crude.
Should the government step in here?
And do what? Monitor or regulate the refining margin?
The gasoline price?
No. That's happening in the Maritimes and parts of Quebec, and all they're doing is following the New York Harbor price, which is based on speculation. So if you're going to have the government say, okay, your refining margin is going to be capped at 12 cents, the foreign-owned refiners are going to say, bye-bye, see you later. We're not putting up with this.
They'll just pull out.
That's right.
But your message, though, is that gasoline prices have very little to do with oil prices and oil supply and demand.
They do in the west of Thunder Bay to the foothills of the Rockies. The prices of gasoline tend to follow the price of crude. East of Thunder Bay to Newfoundland, they tend to follow the whims of speculation on Wall Street.
Let's get into the impact of the death of Hugo Chavez, because it's a major oil exporter, Venezuela.
Yes.
It supplies America with almost 1 million barrels of oil a day.
Correct.
And you say there could be violence, there could be disruption in the transition here.
It's a very emotional situation, not to speak ill of the dead, but Mr. Chavez did not do a very good job with the refining industry. He has the fourth largest refinery in the world at 645,000 barrels.
And you say that alone is 40% of Canada's capacity.
Right, it's absolutely astounding. So they actually export 961,000 barrels of heavy sour crude to the Gulf. Now the situation is going to be very, very volatile in the next 30 days when the election takes place. We don't know if there'll be a military coup. We don't know what's going to happen. I suggest that the vice president who's in charge right now will win on a landslide. If that's true, then the social programs will carry on, and that'll go on for another 4 years or 5 years or whatever it is. So I can't see the Venezuelan oil industry rebounding at all. My concern would be that 961,000 barrels a day going into the Gulf may get interrupted, and that would give cause for President Obama, I think, to say, well, let's see, what was the XL pipeline? It was 833,000 barrels, and we may be losing 961. Where do I sign?
Put pressure on President Obama to just approve this thing.
The State Department says, look, if we don't buy it, the Canadians are going to market that oil sands product somewhere, so it might as well be us. Mr. Obama, do you want to deal with a friendly nation, a reliable supplier and political stable country? Well, welcome to Canada, because Venezuela is none of those.
But how should we in Canada think about this? Because this oil is going down to Texas, and they're building an even bigger global refining hub down there. They're getting all the benefit, aren't they?
The refiners are getting the benefit. There's a lot of concern with the general U.S. public that the oil sands product will be exported out of the country. It's against the law in the United States for the U.S. to export any crude oil whatsoever.
But they export all kinds of refined products.
Absolutely. There's the kicker. And a lot of that is going now to Brazil and Mexico. 3 million barrels a day of gasoline and diesel.
They even sell it to Venezuela because they've mismanaged their refining so badly.
That's right. For every 10 barrels of crude that they export to the United States, they have to buy 2 barrels of refined product. And gasoline sells at 4 cents a liter in Venezuela.
4 cents?
4 cents. And I guarantee you that that refined product they bring in from the States is not being bought for 4 cents a litre.
So they're really leaving a lot of money on the table. Chavez was basically giving gasoline away free to the population.
That's right, to keep everybody quiet and keep everybody happy. But the next 30 days are going to be very, very strange indeed.
How should we in Canada think about this? I mean, is this a market opportunity for us?
Absolutely. I would get a hold of the politicians across the country. I'd get a hold of TransCanada, Enbridge, and everybody say, you have to move within the next 4 years. It's got to go either west, it's got to go east, or it's got to go south, or all three. My thoughts would be right now, go east.
And just feed the population centres in eastern Canada?
And you can export that product from St. John down to the Gulf. It doesn't go anywhere near the United States of America.
Roger, thanks very much.
You're very welcome.
Roger McKnight, Senior Petroleum Analyst at Enpro International.